What is going on, everybody? What is going on, the Catch fam? My name is Jon Dawson, and in today's video, we are hopping right into another 2022 fantasy football mock draft. Today's video, we are hopping into a 10-man full PPR mock draft through the ESPN platform. If you do enjoy today's content, be sure to hit that like button down below and hit that subscribe button. If you are new to the channel, feel free to drop any comments, questions, concerns pertaining to the 2022 fantasy football season down below as well. Let me know of any mock draft requests that you guys have, whether it's an 8-team, 10-team, 14-team, half PPR, whatever it may be. Let me know. Whatever platform it may be, let me know. I will get it put on the schedule and recorded for you guys, as well as any subscriber mock drafts that you guys would like me to set up through the Sleeper app. I am happy to get those on the schedule as well. Make sure to join our Discord down below to get our mock draft invites, as well as updates on when we are conducting those subscriber mock drafts. And without further ado, we should be hopping right into another 2022 fantasy football mock draft here at the channel. All right, so we're on the clock at 1.1. For me, it's an easy pick. It's JT. Listen, I know that CMC is also going at 1.1 in a number of mock drafts. I'm fine with that, but for me, I'm going to take that consistent safe floor in JT. I'm a little bit biased because I did draft CMC at 1.1 last year. I'm having some trust issues, but I get it, right? If you want a little bit of a higher ceiling, then I'm fine with going CMC at 1.1. But for me personally, I'm going to be going with JT as my first overall selection. If you did want to go receiver there, which we've seen in some mock drafts, it's obviously between Cooper Kupp or Justin Jefferson, but I think on a consistent basis, you're probably going to be seeing JT or CMC taken at that 1.1 spot. So we'll take JT as our first running back, as our first overall player, and we'll move right along. Looking at things, we've seen Cooper Kupp gone, CMC, Austin Eckler, Derrick Henry, and Najee Harris. So for me, we're going to have those back-to-back picks throughout this draft, and I would like to just alternate between the running back and the receiver position throughout this draft, and keep an eye on the quarterback position and the tight end position, and let a quarterback that we're confident in fall to us, and a tight end or two that we're confident in fall to us throughout the draft as well. So looking at pick 20 and 21, I'd like to snag up a receiver that I'm confident in being a consistent wide receiver one throughout the whole season for me. And then at the turn there, heading into the third round, I'd like to land a second running back behind JT, who also brings some high value and consistency to this roster. So approaching the end of the first round, we've got a little bit of a run at the receiver position. Justin Jefferson gone, Jamar Chase gone, and Devontae Adams gone. We've got one more selection here in the first. It is DeAndre Swift at the running back position gone. And into the second round, we will go with Stephon Diggs off of the board. And a couple more selections here. We'll take a look at who's available. I don't want to take it too early of a look, as Dalvin Cook is gone, Deebo Samuel's gone, CeeDee Lamb off the board as well. We're coming up here, so we can go ahead and start to take a look, take a little bit of a strategy. I don't think there's any way that Joe Mixon falls out or Leonard Fournette, but if either of them do, I would love to land either of those guys. I don't mind Kamara as an RB2 behind Jonathan Taylor. I mean, listen, guys, at the end of the day, Kamara missed 4 games last season, and we know that there's a looming suspension, right? But he was still RB8 last season, even with missing 4 games. So let's say he misses 6 games, he could still easily be in contention for a top 10 running back. And at the end of the day, he just brings such a high ceiling, such a great value to your fantasy roster. And more than likely, he'll probably serve that suspension at the beginning of the season. So if you have him for the second half of the season, when you're trying to get into the fantasy playoffs, win throughout the fantasy playoffs, and win a championship, then are you really going to be mad if you spend a second or third round pick on him? Probably not, but we'll see if he's available. If he's not, I'll probably take James Conner as my RB2. We did see Mixon gone, and Fournette, as well as Aaron Jones. So for me, it's either Alvin Kamara or James Conner as that RB2. But let's take a look at the wide receiver position. Tyreek Hill hanging around is definitely interesting. If you wanted more of a boomer bust, high ceiling type player, then it's probably Hill, right? But then you got Mike Evans and Keenan Allen for some of those consistent type players. But we got to take a pause here, because both the players that we wanted in James Conner and Alvin Kamara are off of the board. So let's take a quick look at running back. For me at this point, even though Javonte's ceiling is capped with Gordon there, it's probably Javonte Williams or Nick Chubb for me looking at who's available. Let's look at, oh man, this is tough here. I'm going to go Mike Evans at the wide receiver position. Tyreek Hill is really interesting overall, but let's go ahead and let's take Nick Chubb off of the board here, and we'll start things off with JT, Nick Chubb, and Mike Evans. Was really hoping we could land James Conner or Alvin Kamara, two really good selections at 2.18 and 2.19, and into the third round we are with our selections of Mike Evans and Nick Chubb. So we've got quite a while until we select again. Our top priority in the fourth is another bona fide receiver that we can trust, then more than likely another running back. For me, looking at that RB3 spot, for me, if we could land an Ezekiel Elliott or Josh Jacobs, that would bring some great value. If Saquon falls out for some reason, which he's not going to, I mean, he's another player we could have considered over Nick Chubb if you like higher ceilings. Once again, a little bit more boom or bust type play, but he's another player we could have considered. I went ahead and went with a player that I feel like is a little bit more consistent than Nick Chubb. I mean, if there's any way Saquon falls out to 40, which is not going to happen, we'll take Saquon. But at the end of the day, for me, Zeke or Josh Jacobs brings some really good value. ETN's another interesting player. AJ Dillon is rated really far back. I love AJ Dillon as an RB3, but if you're drafting through ESPN, there's a good chance he could fall back a little bit further than he has been going in a lot of our subscriber mock drafts. But AJ Dillon definitely a top priority to get on this team. So we'll go ahead and we'll queue up those couple of running backs, and we'll take a look at receivers who we can expect around pick 40. I would love Mike Williams. Let's bring a high ceiling to this roster. I like DK Metcalf in that range as well. Darnell Mooney, target machine, number 10 in targets last season, has a great chemistry with Justin Fields. I love Hollywood Brown. Why not some Brandon Cooks? Monroe St. Brown's interesting. You got both the Broncos core receivers in Judy and Sutton, and Chris Godwin looking like he might be ready earlier than expected. So I like Godwin in that range as well. Then we're kind of moving into the next tier. I mean, I like Renfro, Thielen, Robinson, Devonta Smith, but we can probably hold off in terms of queuing up players. Obviously, if Deontay Johnson, McLaurin, Pittman, AJ Brown, Jalen Waddle, or DJ Moore are available, we're going to consider them as well. But let's just take a little bit of a step back and let some players get selected here before we get too crazy. Okay, Cam Akers gone at pick 22. Mark Andrews and Travis Kelce back to back selections there at the tight end position. Both those top tier tight ends gone. That is one thing to take note of on ESPN's rankings. They are a little bit further back. I mean, really on a consistent basis in our subscriber mock drafts, we're seeing Kelce gone by the end of the first and Andrews gone at some point by the mid-second. Those guys are going much earlier than the third round, like we are seeing through ESPN's rankings. After those guys gone, we've got Keenan Allen, Tyreek Hill, Javonte Williams, T. Higgins, David Montgomery, and Saquon Barkley. Off of the board into the fourth, we got DJ Moore, our first quarterback gone, and Josh Allen, J.K. Dobbins, Jalen Waddle, and Ezekiel Elliott all gone. We'll just kind of see what happens here. Deontay Johnson gone. I am thinking of going after Travis Etienne in this range just because I think he brings a little bit more upside than Josh Jacobs does. I do think Josh Jacobs is going to have a very good season. I do think he's being a little bit underrated as well. But at the end of the day, let's just go ahead and let's go for that more of an upside play and Travis Etienne, who's a player who I think is really going to be rising on fantasy boards more than he already is the closer we get to the season. Then I do really like Michael Pittman and Scary Terry here, but I'm going to go for a higher ceiling play in Mike Williams in one of the highest powered offenses moving into this season, and that'll take us into the fifth round. So we started out the roster with JT, Nick Chubb, ETN at running back, Mike Evans, and Mike Williams at the receiver position. A nice little start for us here. So we did see our first quarterback off of the board, so I'm not worried about the quarterback position. Once we start to break into more of this next tier, we'll start to take a look after Mahomes, Herbert, and Jackson go. Then we'll start to see if we can secure someone between Kyler Murray and Matthew Stafford, right? So we're really just keeping an eye on the quarterback position as well as the tight end position. We're still looking pretty good here. I mean, we've got Kyle Pitts, really your tight end 3 in most rankings out there, still available. So I don't think we need to panic quite yet, as Pittman's gone, McLaurin's gone, Metcalf's gone, and Josh Jacobs is gone. And that's really how you want to play this strategy. It tends to work very well in 10-team leagues and also works pretty well in 12-team leagues. Just navigating between running backs and receivers, really loading up at both positions, and then just letting a solid quarterback and a solid tight end fall to you and draft them when you're comfortable. I'm telling you guys, in a 10-man league, this works really, really well. So here in the 6th round, we do see another quarterback and another tight end selected. Patty Mahomes gone and George Kittle gone. We got Hollywood Brown, Antonio Gibson, and Brandon Cooks gone, and that should take us into the 6th round. We got Kyle Pitts, so another tight end gone, so we just want to keep taking those mental notes as Justin Herbert is also gone. You can also start to queue up some of those quarterbacks or tight ends that you are confident in at this point in the draft, but I think we can hold off here in the 6th and 7th, get one more running back, one more receiver, and then start to think about a quarterback and tight end, as Dalton Schultz is also taken as we move into the 8th and 9th round. So let's take a look here. We've got quite a few players queued up. What I would like to do is go ahead, man, I don't know, AJ Dillon is really far back in terms of ranking, so we might be able to hold off on AJ Dillon, but part of me wants to just go ahead and snag him up, because realistically, in actual user mock drafts, he's not going to be hanging around at this point, so I don't think it's too crazy to go ahead and draft him against ADP. Looking at quarterbacks, when we do have Lamar Jackson and Kyler Murray sitting around. Looking at tight end, I think we can hold off at tight end, but man, I do think that we could probably still land a Joe Burrow or Jalen Hurts if we hold off. So I'm going to do it. I'm going to go against ESPN's ADPs. I'm going to draft AJ Dillon, take him off the board. Then I'm going to go Chris Godwin here. I like Darnell Mooney as well. I mean, Gabe Davis offering some nice upside. Renfro and Robinson, two other good selections. But let's go ahead and take Godwin, because he could easily be ready between weeks 1 through 4. I did absolutely forget that we did already draft Mike Evans. So as a little bit of an asterisk, I usually don't go after 2 receivers on the same team, because it just can be a headache navigating who you're going to start on a weekly basis. So a little bit of a hiccup for me in this draft, but no worries whatsoever, right? I mean, at the end of the day, let's say if we go ahead and we draft Tom Brady, well, then we've got a nice stack for this team overall. So maybe we'll just make that part of the strategy. We're just going after those Buccaneers receivers. Who knows? Maybe we'll draft Gage and Julio throughout the draft as well. But at the end of the day, man, we've got 2 great receivers on a high-powered offense. But like I said, just for me, if you guys do go after 2 receivers on the same squad, it can just be a headache, at least in redraft formats, deciding who you're going to start. Are you going to go with Godwin or Evans? Are you going to start both of them on a weekly basis? What risk is associated with starting 2 receivers from the same team? And even 2 receivers and a quarterback from the same team could really pay off on certain weeks and not pay off on other weeks, right? Obviously, in best ball formats and underdog drafts, it's a little bit different. But hey, at the end of the day, we got Mike Evans and Chris Godwin on this team. They're both absolute studs when fully healthy, so I'm not going to beat myself up too much. But like I said, generally speaking, not really something I do in terms of my strategy, but it gives us something unique to work with nonetheless. All right, here in the 7th round, we got Cooper gone, Mooney gone, Kyler Murray gone, Renfro gone, Gabe Davis gone, Tyler Lockett gone, and Miles Sanders. So we do want to start to take a look at the quarterback position. I mean, we still got Lamar here, Dak, Jalen Hurts, Brady, Burrow, Rodgers, Wilson, staff infection. So we got plenty of quarterbacks to take a look at. Looking at tight ends, I really like Goddard in this tier. Zach Ertz, Dawson Knox, Hunter Henry, Mike Gesicki, Hawkinson, Freiermuth. That would be kind of how I would rank those guys out. So still plenty of tight ends hanging around. Let's take a look at receiver. If Allen Robinson falls out here, I'll probably go Robinson. I do like Devonta Smith. I do like Hopkins, even though he's going to miss time. Elijah Moore. Christian Kirk, I think, is going to be peppered with targets this season. Like Drake London, why not? I like Adam Thielen. I like Allen Robinson, like I already said. Juju, probably worth a shot. Rashad Bateman, going to get a ton of targets, obviously, as well. We'll go ahead and take a look at running backs as well. I mean, there is a little bit of a later round tier that I really like. I like Rashad Penny, I like Melvin Gordon, and I like James Cook. And I even like Chase Edmonds in full PPR. Then I obviously like my guy, Tony Pollard, as well. So we'll get all those players queued up. Let's take a look at what's gone on here. Miles Sanders gone, Damian Harris, Lamar Jackson gone, and into the 8th round we go with Patty and Cheese gone, Adam Thielen gone, Devin Singletary gone, and Allen Robinson gone. So we do miss out on Robinson. That's okay. Taking a look here, I really like Devonta Smith. He's probably my top rated player, and I would like to stack him with Jalen Hurts as Joe Burrow is gone. But also part of me is like, why not just go all out on Tampa Bay? There goes Tom Brady. Okay, we're not getting the Tampa Bay stack. So really for me, my 2 top rated players right now are going to be Jalen Hurts and Devonta Smith. And there goes Jalen Hurts. We just missed it. I had a feeling that was going to happen. So let's go ahead and take Devonta Smith. I do think he's going to be very, very consistent in full PPR formats this season. And part of me just wants to go with another receiver and hold off one more round at quarterback, but I don't know if it's worth it. Let's go Russell Wilson. I like Aaron Rodgers right there, and I like Matthew Stafford right there as well. Let's go with Wilson for maybe a little bit of more of an upside selection. Kind of a dark horse candidate at MVP, going to a very good situation overall in that offense. So we'll roll with Russell Wilson here. Then we probably do need to think about a tight end in the 10th or the 11th round. Then we'll just continue to stack up at receiver or running back to finish this thing out. If you guys are enjoying the video today so far, make sure to hit that like button down below for me and hit that subscribe button if you are new to the channel. It truly does help us out. And feel free to drop any comments, questions, concerns pertaining to the 2022 fantasy football season down below as well. All right, I would say Dallas Goddard is probably my top target at the tight end position in this round. All right, I would say that Dallas Goddard is probably my top target at the tight end position moving in to this next round. Looking at the 9th round overall, we finished things out with Garrett Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, Christian Kirk, Bateman, Hawkinson, Woods, Hunt, London, Juju, and Russell Wilson was my selection. And to the 10th, we got Elijah Moore, got a good little value there. Looking at things overall, I'd like to land another running back or two. I might go with 2 tight ends now that Dallas Goedert and Zach Ertz are gone, just to help kind of solidify the position. But overall, looking at receivers, I mean, we got Evans, Williams, Godwin, and Smith. So just 4 receivers. We'd probably like to add at least one more receiver to this team. Looking at things overall, we probably just want to alternate out at running back, receiver, at least one more running back or receiver in that extra bench spot. And then we might go with 2 tight ends just because it'd be nice to kind of solidify the position, because we did miss out on those top guys that we really like. So I would say that Dawson Knox is probably my top rated player at the tight end position at this point in the draft. Then we can kind of go ahead and get a Hunter Henry or Mike Gesicki behind him if we are worried about any of those looming injuries. So looking at who's available, I like Rashad Penny at this point in the draft. Why not? And then we may just go ahead and snag up a tight end as well. Probably just go ahead and snag up Gesicki looking at ADP. So I think I'm going to go ahead and go with Gesicki and Rashad Penny at this point in the draft. Then we'll go ahead and move forward from there. All right, so we'll go ahead and make both those moves. Let's add Rashad Penny, and then we'll go and we'll snag up Mike Gesicki. I mean, I know some people are worried about Gesicki with Tyreek Hill being added to that offense, Chase Edmonds, Sid Wilson. So, you know, it's a new coaching staff and everything. But at the end of the day, I mean, Kittle was used a lot in San Francisco for a lot of different reasons. But I think with McDaniels as the head coach in Miami, I don't think there's any reason to not believe that Mike Gesicki is not going to get a ton of targets next season. So in full PPR, I do like Gesicki as a tight end 1. This team has turned out pretty interesting. These aren't necessarily the top players that I would target at each position. So this has definitely turned out interesting, but I think it's a good team overall. So we'll try and land another receiver, try and land Dawson Knox. And I think I'm going to go for a late round running back overall. Let's take a look at ESPN rankings. I mean, James Cook is still hanging around. He's a player I would really like on this team. In terms of receivers, I would love to land Tyler Boyd as well. But in terms of a late round guy, I like Tim Patrick even in 10-team drafts. So those are really my top 2 targets. Christian Watson, Sky Moore, Jon Dawson. I mean, we got all kinds of rookies in here, so we could always take a look at those guys as well. But I think things look pretty good overall in terms of how we're going to be able to finish out this draft. Let's take another look at running back. I mean, I really like James Cook. James Robinson's worth a look at this point in the draft. J.D. McKissick, why not? I do like Dameon Pierce, and I really liked Tyler Algier as well. So we got plenty of options to choose from. I think at the end of the day, we're going to be able to finish this thing out in pretty good fashion as we start to wrap up the 11th round. We've got Chase Edmonds gone, Russell Gage gone, Chris Olave gone, and Jacoby Myers. I mean, all really good values there at this point in the draft. So looking at things, man, like I said, it's not necessarily the exact team that I envisioned for tonight's draft, but we got JT at the end of the day as our RB1. Behind him, we've got Nick Chubb, Travis Etienne, AJ Dillon, and Rashad Penny so far. I mean, I think that's actually a really good start, all things considered, at the running back position. We do have a lot of week 11 buys, but we should be okay as we move into the 12th round here. Russell Wilson's our quarterback. At the moment, Mike Gesicki's our tight end. Receivers are where I have the most concern. I mean, Mike Evans Mike Williams, Chris Godwin, Devonta Smith, like all good names. But I do think that combination of Godwin and Evans could be a problem realistically, which we touched on as a little bit of a hiccup in terms of this draft. But at the end of the day, still 4 good receivers that I believe in. Just not the exact combination of players that I like. But I do think this is a good team at the end of the day. So let me know in the comments down below, as I'm having a dilemma with this squad I've thrown together tonight. Let me know what you guys think of this team overall, or wait till the end of the video and let me know how you guys think that it turned out at the end of the day. All right, let's take a look here. I think my top targets at pick 120 and 121 are gonna have to be, I don't know, it just depends. If Tyler Boyd is available, that's going to have a big impact on things, because I do think another receiver would bring a lot of value to this team. And we'll find out in about, I don't know, 30 seconds or so here. So Tyler Boyd is available. All right. And James Cook already got selected. So we are going Tyler Boyd. And then we're going to go Dawson Knox. Then we'll take a flyer. I don't know if I even call it a flyer, but we'll go ahead and we'll finish things out either with Tyler Algier or Dameon Pierce, which I'm actually completely fine with. And really, when we look at this team, I mean, JT, Chubb, ETN, Dillon, Penny, we're in a good place at the running back position. So landing Tyler Boyd and a second tight end with Gesicki was probably a better route overall. I just really like James Cook. I think he's going to have a good rookie season, and obviously a part of an offense that I'm a big fan of. So we'll go ahead and we should be able to finish this thing out with Tyler Algier or Dameon Pierce, and then go ahead and snag up a defense or kicker, and then this draft will be in the books. All right, coming up on the selection here, I mean, we could even just go with Algier and Dameon Pierce if you really wanted to, but at the end of the day, I mean, you can have debate all day if Pierce or Algier has a better shot at being an RB1, but I think both of them will have a shot, so I don't mind either player. Maybe just for the sake of things, we'll go Dameon Pierce tonight, but I have been putting a lot of stock into Tyler Algier and drafting him in a lot of mock drafts. But at the end of the day, man, I like both of those running backs, and I think they're a really good way to finish out our skill position players for this roster. So let's go with Dameon Pierce. And the Colts defense are one of my top rated defense, but gosh, we got some really good kickers sitting around. I mean, it doesn't look like it's, I mean, only Matt Gay's been taken, so we could take the advantage at kicker and go Justin Tucker here and then just stream defenses throughout the year, or we might still be able to land a good defense by the end of this draft. But I really do like the Colts defense. But let's go ahead and take that positional advantage. Let's go Justin Tucker. You're not gonna have to worry about your kicker for the entire year if he's on your squad, obviously. So we'll take a look as the 15th round approaches, and then into the end of the 16th round, we'll have that final selection of the draft. We'll just pick the best available defense, and we'll call this thing a day. All right, looking at the 15th round, after that selection of Justin Tucker, we got Robbie Anderson, MVS, the Colts defense, Nick Folk, Harrison Butker, Irv Smith, Washington Commanders, David Njoku, Trevor Lawrence. Into the 16th round, we got Money Mac, Daniel Carlson, Brandon McManus, Tyler Bass off the board. So we'll just keep an eye on the defensive position. I mean, I do like the Chargers. I think at this point in the draft, they're worth a selection, although I'm a little bit worried about how quickly all those new additions can mesh, because the Chargers realistically were really bad on defense last season. I do like the Patriots because I do believe in the system, but gosh, they have lost a lot of value. That defensive roster does not look the same as before. The Steelers, I mean, you got Watt there. You can always take a shot on the Steelers defense. Outside of that, man, I mean, I do like the Broncos. I think they're going to have some good games. I do think the Rams will have some good games this season as well. I know that they're a pretty popular team to draft in fantasy, but at the end of the day, we'll just take a shot on the Chargers. Why not? And we'll call this thing a day. So taking a final look at the roster, we end up with Jonathan Taylor, Nick Chubb, Travis Etienne, AJ Dillon, Rashad Penny, and Dameon Pierce at running back. I do think it's a good running back room overall. Mike Evans, Mike Williams, Chris Godwin, Devonta Smith, and Tyler Boyd at receiver. So I don't want to say it's a weak receiver team, but I mean, we got that combination of Evans and Godwin. You could view that as something that a lot of fantasy managers don't like, or some fantasy managers really like. I mean, we got two key pieces of one of the best offenses in the leagues theoretically. Mike Williams bringing a high ceiling, Devonta Smith and Tyler Boyd bringing that nice consistency in PPR as well. Mike Gesicki and Dawson Knox at the tight end position. I would be good with both those tight ends going into a 10-team league. Then we got Russell Wilson at quarterback. We did pick him over Aaron Rodgers, and Matthew Stafford were also available at that time. Justin Tucker at the kicker position in the Chargers defense. So overall, I think it's a pretty good squad. Like I said, not the exact team I envisioned, but at the end of the day, we end up going with that strategy of just loading up at running backs and receivers, and then letting a quarterback fall to us, then letting a tight end or two that we are confident in fall to us, while alternating a couple more running backs and receivers in there as well. Getting a kicker and defense to finish things out. I think that this team did end up very even par from head to toe and as a good squad overall. So that'll do it for the video today. Be sure to hit that like button on the way out. Hit that subscribe button if you are new to the channel. Check out all of our links down below. Please feel free to let me know in the comments down below if you guys have any specific mock drafts you guys would like to see. I'm happy to get them on the schedule. Be sure to join our Discord down below, completely free to do so, and that'll get you the best updates on when we are conducting subscriber mock drafts through Sleeper. And let me know what you guys thought of this draft overall, of course. And that'll do it for the video today. That'll say thank you guys so much for watching and or listening, and remember, you saw it here on The Catch.